It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good morning guys, 22nd of July 2019, 8 AM CET, Piotr here, and this is the pre-London Open live market coverage only here, Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Let's start with risk warning. Please bear in mind trading effects on margin. Trading crypto margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all initial investments, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Okay, so what is going on? There was a little bit risk off towards the Friday close because of the incident in Iran. Over the weekend we had a calls for de-escalation. So overall opening levels, Sunday opening levels were very close to where we ended last week. Monday and Tuesday, today and tomorrow, nothing extraordinary when we are talking about the calendar. Tuesday, just Richmond Manufacturing Index as well as existing home sales. So nothing extraordinary. Then the second part of this week might be very interesting. Wednesday, that's gonna be PMI day. Thursday, that's gonna be ECB day plus durable goods orders from US, and Friday US GDP, especially with very low market expectations. About those events, we are going to have a call with Michał within the next few minutes, so we are going to discuss this these events. Before we connect with Michał, before we go and try to talk about Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, let's have a look what we have from crude perspective and gold perspective after the Friday incident. So what we have on the crude side, we discussed what happened from a daily chart perspective, right? The failure and strong sell-off. We saw levels around 55 where the bulls were trying to find the support. We were discussing this move or trading range from the 10th of June, right? And the move to the downside here. All right, this move. So we at the top of that, we're trying to find the support, but I do think that it's not last bear's word. I do think that bottom of this breakout candle, in that case we are talking about levels closer to 54.30, 54.20. That's what I think is gonna to be retested to the upside right now. Because of Friday incident, we saw intraday rally into the close, right? There is a call over the course of the weekend. We had a calls for de-escalation, so not big move to the upside based on what we've seen on Friday. There is a possibility of some kind of the consolidation here, right? And market will probably have wait and see mode over the course of the day. So from the bulls perspective, I think still, of course, Thursday low 54.85 and the stops below. I think 54.30, 54.20 as we discussed. That's the first possible demand, and the second possible demand is even lower towards 53. To the upside, we are testing supply, or we are very close to the possible intraday supply, and in that case we are talking about the levels closer to 56.50. Let's get back to the daily for a second here, right? As we have I've been explaining this, the green zone, the possible demand which has been taken out right now should work as a supply, as you can see, right? And we were discussing last Thursday, nice move, hit the supply and sell off, right? So we know that the first possible supply 56.60 as I mentioned, but this one 57.30 as a key psychological level for now. So trying to summarize the oil, especially from intraday perspective, I think we might see lower levels, right? Especially if we are going to try to take out Thursday low, we might open 54.30, 54.20, and eventually levels around 53. To the upside, we are talking about the possible supply around 56.50, which has been almost tested over the course of Friday Tokyo session and today Tokyo session. All right, if we are going to take out these levels, the next one is closer to 57.30, 57.40, and especially taking into the consideration this huge sell-off, if we are going to close above 57.40, we might cancel the bearish scenario. Gold, to be honest with you, I've been quite surprised what I've seen Friday evening when we saw the incident in Iran. Instead of, with selling off on indices, instead of pushing higher, we ended up close to Thursday low, the levels we started the rally. Now, very important, because it was like all medias were trying to cover mostly incident in Iran, but there was one more information I haven't here handy. I will try to provide the link maybe tomorrow, but there was probably Wall Street Journal published the information that there are many signs that when we are talking about the FOMC meeting at the end of the July, we are going to get 25 basis point cut, and that might be because of what we get in relation to information related to the FOMC. Because even we saw the sell-off on the indices, we saw the risk of incident. Also, there was a spike on dollar yen to the upside, right? And it was right at the moment I've seen the information about just 25 basis point cut from FOMC side, right? So, over the course of the previous week, there was a almost non-stop discussion that why Fed is going to cut 50 basis points. It's like, I don't know, it's like trying to force, trying to influence FOMC Fed, and probably because of, from the FOMC perspective, from the first perspective, trying to show independency, right? It might be just, one of the reasons we are going to see just 25 basis points. The question is if it's 25, probably it's not one and done. It's gonna be wait and see mode, data dependent and stuff like this. So yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. Last part of the July, the next 8 days of the July is gonna be very, very interesting. All right, so we hopefully we are clear here what happened late Friday. We are going to get back into the FX charts after the conversation with Michał, so I'm going to try to connect with Michał right now. Good morning, Michał. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Morning, very busy, but I think the Monday is pretty cool as we can see on the calendar. So we might take a little bit slow after the busy weekend. Thank you, Peter, for taking my role in discussing the U.S. The situation with the GDP, with the U.S. economy. So, hello, are you there?
Yeah, of course, I'm listening.
Sorry. I saw that on
listening
on
mode.
the screen. Yes. It was something was lagging. I don't know from my side or your side. Okay. So very shortly, as always, like in this week, we will have the ECB, US GDP, PMI manufacturing data. On Wednesday, and also what you didn't mention, I think we will have the new UK Prime Minister this, or did you?
I
week?
didn't. I leave it for you, so it's.
Thank you with that. So it will be held on Tuesday, I think, and the case is that the Premier May will resign the next day. So it will be I think it will be very fast done because of the trade tensions and those no Brexit deal situation. Okay, so about ECB, I think generally no one is expecting the rate cut at the moment. More like getting some information about monetary policy, about the easing, because there are some uncertainty about the trade. Mr. Trump. Twitter, and I think that mostly the investors will pay attention to any prompts about the new and fresh QE, and if there will be any, and if so, then when. About the economic data, the PMIs are like good indicator for the trend. So I think that. Lately there wasn't good. It wasn't good data. It was very bad, as we can say that. And we will see this on Wednesday. Those data will of course influence the new stance, maybe some new stance about the monetary policy on those central banks. We will have the manufacturing from Japan, Eurozone, mostly from Germany. And the US, and also, like you said before, the GDP, how the US economy performed in the second quarter. The estimations are very low. Good morning, Mer. Good morning. The estimations are very low. So we will see. Okay. If the okay, what I wanted to mention about this, about the GDP data. I think that if the estimations are 1.8%.
Yeah, 1.8. Yeah.
Yes, I think that you mentioned that there is very much pressure to take this 50 basis points rate cut, and I think it will be not that bad, the reading from the data, but if there will be such a low reading or even lower, which I think it will not happen, but you never know, it could force the Fed to cut the rates by 50 basis points. I think that might be the situation after that.
So eventually, if you are going to get a low GDP, so that's gonna be good excuse to cut more. Okay.
But you also mentioned that they will try to stay independent because of this media attention. But yeah, I think that might be the case when we will see the rhetoric after the what media we're gonna say after the reading. Yeah. And the new UK Prime Minister, as everybody knows, that the most sure candidate is Boris Johnson, and the most important thing is this Irish border, and everyone are very pay attention to the rhetoric of the candidates, and everybody are like trying to surpass each other with the rhetoric about the no deal Brexit, and trying to give assurance that if there will be no deal, they will do the exit without a deal on 31st of the October this year, to not try to extend this term. So I think it will be almost sure, and I think and also there's information that the staff from the EU and Ireland started conversations, started talks about the new deal, what they can do about the Irish border, and and the terms of the exit of the UK with the Boris Johnson staff.
All right, Michał, thank you very much for your input. So we are going to go through this majors right now. So thank you very much, Michał. Have a great rest of the day.
Same to you.
And probably we are going to connect tomorrow again, right?
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, Michał.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, so we know what we are going to get this week in terms of the events data. So I think it's time to switch to charts and trying to check what charts are trying to tell us. We are going to start with dollar index. Give me a second. Just 1 second. Switching, 1 second. Okay. There you go. So, that's the daily chart. Let's start with weekly. On the dollar index side, there was upper shadow, lower close, but overall, we held previous week range, or what happened 2 weeks ago, right? Almost. There was an attempt to break lower, so the sellers were trapped. There is a possibility we are going to create swing high, right? If you remember, I held 3 educational webinars. We were discussing swings as well. So in that case, there is a possibility of swing high creation. Also, we are fighting around the broken trend line, rising broken trend line. So for now, from that perspective, 97, 97.45, 97.60, same zone as previous week could be the key. To the downside, last week low, what we've seen 2 weeks ago as a first possible demand, and the lower eventually we are talking about 96.40, and the swing low we are talking about the 96. So very narrow range ahead of what might be called the very important next 8 days in July, and hopefully that's not gonna be summer holiday lullaby. We are going to finally get some kind of the volatility. So that's what I'm expecting. From the daily chart perspective, Friday high, previous week high, what we've seen last week and 2 weeks ago. So very, very narrow range to the upside. We are talking again very similar to what we discussed based on the weekly. 97.60 is a key, higher towards 97.70 and 80. Very, very narrow. To the downside, it's clearly visible here in connection to what we've seen at the very beginning of June. So we might talk about some kind of the over-under formation here. Let's switch to the smaller time frame and let's have a look if there is anything we can have over the course of the day today. Give me a second. So let's switch to 2 hours, and there you go. So that's very interesting here around 97.30, right? That's the Niagara Falls we've seen, okay? But if you remember what we were talking about, the zone over here, right? And where we stopped. So we talk about the zone in advance, okay? We did it in advance. That's very important that we are not talking about what happened, but we are trying to predict what might happen. So right now we are testing this 97.30, 97.40, and that's the key level being tested last Friday over here. And from that perspective, if you are dollar bear, if you are a dollar bear and you are looking to sell the dollar, right? Most probably, from the dollar index perspective, either we are going to hold Friday high, so also we are talking about the 17th of July and 16th of July intraday lows. So let me put the zone here. All right. So in that case, what I'm gonna to look for from the bear's perspective, over the course of the London session, slow move higher to retest or maybe even hit some stops based on what we've seen last Friday. And I would like to see sell-off from here, right? So we saw the spike, we saw the rejection, so I do expect some kind of the retest and eventually sell-off on the dollar. Now, on the other hand, if you are a dollar bull, you wanna see that we are going to hold certain levels, just not to lose the momentum, and in that case, let me make the cleaning. In that case, you want to see levels closer to 97, 96, 90 to hold, right? So in that case, you want, from the bull's perspective, you want these levels around 97, right, to hold. to try to counter the base here from where we saw this Niagara Falls, right? So we want to hold this level. So in that case, I would like to see pullback, very slow, some very slow kind of consolidation towards the New York Open, or maybe even towards tomorrow, because you know, today very poor day in terms of the calendar, right? Very poor day. Just a few numbers tomorrow: Richmond Manufacturing Index, existing home sales. So maybe slow pullback, test, retest of 97, and then trying to move higher over the course of the day tomorrow and Wednesday, right? Especially, that's what Michał mentioned, from the, for example, euro-dollar perspective, and just the friendly reminder, euro is the heaviest inside the dollar basket. That's where we are going to get some answers on Wednesday, and then probably on Thursday during the ECB, especially press conference. So that's how I see from intraday perspective. That's how I see the dollar index. So trying to summarize, bears are looking for rejection around the Friday high. Bulls are looking to defend 97, the bottom of this short accumulation phase ahead of the sell-off, right? So very, very narrow, very tiny, 30 ticks range, 97, 30 from the dollar perspective. So let's get back to the platform. Let's check the majors. In that case, let's start with euro dollar. Over the course of previous week, right, we started the week testing levels closer to 113, and we were discussing that if we are going to see the break of 113.50 might be the case, 13.20, 13.50. No way bulls here were so weak. So we saw towards the end of the week, right, we didn't, that was the first attempt, and then Thursday, and there was no breakout. So towards end of the week, weak longs were forced to close ahead of the weekend, and we got back towards the bottom of the previous week trading range. So right now we are again inside possible demand zone based on what we've seen here, right? Pullback, consolidation, rally above the previous supply. So we are testing third time. So eventually the orders here are getting weaker probably, and weaker. We are feeling more orders. Now from this daily chart perspective, right, I think if bulls want to try to hold this 12.1180 zone and avoid the situation that we are falling lower towards 11.20, 11 level, and opening possibility of the move towards even 110, if that's the case, right, so I think Friday and Thursday low, we have to hold that low, all right, to open the possibility to retest again previous week highs and open the way towards 13.50. On the other hand, bears will try to use the opportunity arise last Friday with this sell-off towards the end of the week to try to push prices immediately lower at the very beginning of this week. So let's switch to the smaller time frame, to intraday time frame, and let's have a look what we have here, and if there is anything we can try to take the advantage of. Okay, so again, this sell-off, the range here, it was Frankfurt Open 17th of July, right? The range over here. That's where what we are trying to hold different way. We held 4 times already, right? We held it here, 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 and during the Tokyo session. So the zone is getting weaker and weaker, I'm pretty sure. All right, so I'm not gonna be surprised. We are going to finally we are going to try to break that zone. But as long as we are hold this zone, as long as we are hold this zone, okay, I'm going to look for opportunity to buy euro dollar. All right, in that case, my target is going to, if that's gonna happen, if we are going to see retest of this level, we are talking about the 112, 111.95. If we are going to see the retest of that level, and on a smaller time frame, some kind of the rejection, quick consolidation, and move higher. So in that case, my target is going to be around the 1250. So from the risk reward point perspective, that could make sense. On the other hand, if you are a euro dollar bear, you want to use Riley bounce as a selling opportunity. In that case, as you can see on this chart, there is a red line, and we know that red color represents what is going on the monthly chart. And especially right now, when we are approaching end of the month, the line here, the level closer to 1240 might be quite important, and 1255 what we discussed before. So in that case, if you are a bear, you want to see either rally towards this level or a little bit higher rally towards 55 to try to use this as a selling opportunity, right? The move above 1280.13 will open, may expose 1320, 1350 on euro dollar. Now pound, still based on what we get from the CFTC report, the shorts here are the largest right now. So there is a plenty of possibility to try to squeeze bears here. And I like what happened last Thursday, right? Of course, it was mostly because of the dollar weakness. But if you are going to check what happened on euro pound, it was something positive with pound. Of course, the data wasn't that bad. Of course, Barnier comment, positive comment. So the weakest shorts were already covered. The only thing, it was the Friday incident with the UK tankers, right, in Iran, because that weekly close or Friday close, that made this incident was a good excuse to try to close lower on the pound, right? And to be honest with you, I've been thinking, and it was very close that we are going to get this weekly close, Friday close above 18th of June low, right? Because we broke through that level on Thursday, and I thought that Friday is gonna be some kind of the retest, and the lower shadow is going to be a little bit higher above 25.10. Unfortunately, no, it didn't happen. So right now, what I think with pound, we might see retest of last Wednesday high in connection to what we've seen on the 9th of July and the 10th of July low. So we might retest, we might create this over-under formation over here, right? So from the bulls perspective, first level I'm going to look for from the intraday buying perspective, it's closer towards 24.60, 24.40. That's the first one. The second one, it might be the possibility market will try to finish the business. So the latest low as a swing low creation here, right? So that's two possibilities from the bulls perspective. From the bears perspective, still levels close to 25.80, 26.20. So I want to see market to try to clean some stops here, all right? And I want to see the rejection. That might be the opportunity to try to join the short side. Because once we are going catch shorts and force more shorts to cover, we might see bigger rally. And in case of daily close above 25.80, 26, we taking into the consideration what we've seen here, we discussed that it might be a little bit of the game changer medium term on pound. So in case of the daily close above 26, we might see rally higher, and we might see attempt to look for more stops towards 27.50, 27.80. all right? So it's gonna be very, very interesting, and especially there is nothing extraordinary after Tuesday, right? So if it's going to be, you know, we might see some kind of the volatility on the pound tomorrow because of what Michał was talking about, but then it's gonna be like, all right, let's have a look what we have on euro pound, right? And that's what we are going to discuss tomorrow. So bulls around 24.60.40, and then around last week low, bears around 25.80.26. And the last one is a dollar yen, and here we saw this attempt to rally Friday, right? But it was like just the retest of Monday and Tuesday low, all right? We are trying to test these levels again during the Tokyo and here right now during the Frankfurt hours, but we need to see the close above 108.15.20 to try to neutralize bearish view and try to create the big range. So for now I'm watching 108.10, 108.20 from selling perspective, and if we are going to hit last week high and move higher, then we might retest 109, all right? So from the bears perspective, either we are going to start the dollar yen weakness around 108.10.20, or from 109, and from the bulls perspective, if you remember, we were talking 107.50, a line on the sun, and that's where we got back last Friday. So we closed the week right at this line on the sun, right? So from the bulls perspective, trying to defend these levels towards 107, 106.60 might be the case. So we might see at some point over the course of this week, market will try to hit previous week low, count for stops, but if we are going to defend 107 and rally back towards the end of the week, that might be the case for the bulls. That's it, guys, from me today. You are more than welcome to join me tomorrow 8 a.m. We are going to cover pre-London Open live as usual every day from Monday to Friday 8 a.m. CET. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great London trading session. Don't be trapped. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, It's impossible in real life. But wait, light Forex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.